Hi everyone and welcome to this week's Monday Memo. Now, in case you missed it, there's actually a lot going on in our profession at the moment, whether it's the digitization of it via the, improvements in cognitive computing technologies, having now to work in increasingly competitive environments, disruptive marketplaces, new generations entering the workforce all the time, and also the emergence of the socially intelligent finance professional. These are just some of the major megatrends going on, and the sheer complexity that we're having to wade through, to navigate it through on a daily basis, means there's a lot of change going on. And how do you become aware of what's relevant in all of that without being overwhelmed by the information, figuring out what works, what doesn't, how we continue to remain relevant, how can we have fulfilling careers in finance. So rather, I suppose, than asking all these questions ourselves, maybe we ask one question, maybe an effective question, which is, who are the key influencers in accounting and finance across the world who maybe can best shed light on some of the answers to those questions and even better help us do something about it. So, one of the reasons why we set up Strength in the Numbers show, SITN, was because, I felt that, as much as I had an appreciation of what's going on, and had a good network around me, I felt like I'm not knowing all the answers. People are asking me questions that I simply don't know the answers to. So why not ask people who actually know more about these things than I do? And there's some really fantastic mentors out there. I wondered that. Would people be receptive to that? What would people sort of take from hearing the voices of other people out there and their stories? And just by surprise, a couple of years later, we have an audience now in over 150 countries. And rather than help answer questions, we just found we're getting more questions. I guess, as the audience grows, that's typically what I guess happens. So I sort of missed that one a bit. But anyway, on the flip side, as much as the audience questions has grown, as much as the audience has grown, there's been more and more people stepping forward to become influencers within our profession. So finding answers to the questions actually is becoming a bit easier. You know what I mean? In the last week alone, been lucky enough to interview for the podcast an expert in finance business partnering. Probably been doing that before it was even a common term. Also someone who's a communication specialist, but started as in finance planning and analysis. Again, probably well before it became much more known. So, we've got the experience already in our profession and influences there to help us through. We just need people to step forward and put their hands up. And that's why I developed what we call the SITN Finance Influencer 4-box, to maybe categorize those influencers into groups, those that are sort of newly emerging. And I sort of categorize them in terms of their clarity of insight, but also the scale of the impact they're making at the moment. And, I put that up on LinkedIn in the last week. It's got a very good reception. I put a link to the article in the show notes with this podcast too. But essentially, this 4-box is a graphical positioning of those 4 types of influencers. First, we have the torchbearer, which, as the name suggests, have been shining a light with their very clear insights and strong impact on our profession for the last while, and means that we can be much better positioned for tomorrow, should we choose to tune into them. Then we have the groundbreakers, who understand where finance and accounting is growing, have developed insight to deal with those trends, but maybe not have yet developed the full scale of impact or sufficient scale of impact. We have the innovators, and again, as the phrase suggests, they're up and coming, developing their insights, not quite have the scale yet also, or the impact from their work, but one day they're probably heading to one of the other categories. And disruptors, who have established scale today, maybe dominate a particular area within finance and accounting, but maybe not have the full breadth of clarity as to really translate what does it mean for tomorrow from a direction perspective. And just curious to see how it goes. As I said, it's been very much received well at the moment. Some really positive comments that it's helped people sort of find more appropriate and relevant influencers. And likewise with SITM, we'll keep bringing on guest mentors to the show, to share with you their insights around what works, what doesn't, peer over the fence, break down what they've done into sort of practical methods, deconstruct them into steps that you can follow, so that you can go on, become more influential, and solve the most meaningful problems in your organizations. I think the great thing now is that sort of we're sharing more, and that's pretty cool too. So look, really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please don't forget to share it with your friends and colleagues, subscribe, comment on us. We appreciate all the constructive feedback you give so far. And really appreciate investing your time in us today. So until next time, take care of yourselves, and let's keep on building our strength in the numbers.